Welcome to RoXolid Productions, where in this video we are going to take you inside one of our local game stores. This is the new live action games for 2019. Welcome to RoXolid Productions. Before we get started, one of the things I want to do is just take a second and say thank you for stopping by and checking out what we have going on here on the channel. If this is your first time here, I invite you to check out some of the other videos that we have up here, from reviews, tips and tricks, how-tos, and a whole lot more. And if you really like what you see, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, that way each and every time we do upload new content, you're kept the most up to date. Now, in summer of 2019, our local video game store, Live Action Games, they actually moved into a brand new building. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot sharper looking. Let's take a look inside and see everything that Adrian and Christian have been doing behind the scenes to make this one of the premier gaming stores, really, in the country. Let's get started. So when you first walk in the store, you've got some really cool stuff. You have, check this out, Gashapon. There's not just one, there's two. And those are pretty rare to see outside of a GameStop. They've also got some really cool figures and whatnot. And I know Adrian went to the Missouri Game Con. One of the things that was a big mover there was the records, and that's something that they generally have in stock and on hand. Look at this, Deadpool 2. Conker's Bad Fur Day on vinyl. You know, a couple books as well. They do carry model kits, which is kind of neat. Some of the Bandai stuff. And then, much like at the previous location, toys are always a big thing. You know, you've got the Optimus Prime, the G2 Optimus Prime. It's not the real Optimus Prime. Nikolai Volkov action figure in there. You know, some cool toys and whatnot. And then games, systems, games, and more systems. We're going to start over here. And just a really nice collection of PS2 games up above. We've got a Commodore VIC-20, an Atari programmer computer, Super NES, and NES systems in the box complete, which is really, really freaking cool. An NES satellite. And this is one of the coolest things that he's gotten in lately, is he does get, it's actually really, that's a better price than I figured that would have on it. We're going to have to talk later, because I thought that was like a $500 system.
I can make it $500 for you. I will make it $500.
With friends like him, I need to call ICE. Genesis games, because Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Not really, but I mean, today's the 30th anniversary of the Genesis, so we're going to say that today. And then down in the first showcase, we've got Amiibo, more Genesis games, PSP games, Game Gear games, DS and 3DS, Vita games, loose, Blades of Vengeance. Huh. There's no Truxton, that's for sure. 32X games in there, Master System games. He does also have, this is a really neat setup that he has here. It is a PlayStation 3 kiosk that he has a PlayStation Classic in. Speaking of PlayStation Classics, we have a couple of them up top there, right over the PlayStation 1 section. You know, some magazines down here. A really very full section of Wii games. Donkey Kong Country Returns, such a great game. Mario Party. You know, there are Wii games up top. And then getting into GameCube and Wii U, not quite as full, but again, I don't think they're quite as popular. Or maybe on the GameCube stuff, they've been more popular lately. That's why the section is not quite as full as normal. Bunch of PSP games. Very good collection of, you know, here's the Sega Saturn games. Dreamcast games are down below too. Some Sega CD games. Maybe one day I will buy Brian Morgan's copy of X-Men Children of the Atom. I need to do that just to get under his skin a little bit. Over here we've got some 3DS games in a box. More systems up top now. In addition to, you know, the retro games, they do carry games such as the Classic N. Make sure you check out our review of that system. That's actually the system we did our review on. You know, we've got the Pikachu and the Donkey Kong Green Fantastic N64s, another Super NES. But they also have newer retro consoles, if that makes sense. They have the Retron 3, they have the Retron 77, a couple more we'll show you in a moment. Xbox section, really good selection of Xbox games, even though Xbox sucks. And they do carry the Hyperkin and Retrobit line of retro consoles. There is the Super Retro Trio Plus, another Retron 77, the Classic 2 HD, some Xbox 360s, including the Red Dead Redemption 2 version. And then we passed right over it, but here's all of the PS3 games, some more boxed items down below. Some limited edition stuff here, Xbox One games, PS4, including PS4 VR. Imports. They do have a decent collection of imports. A lot of them that came over from Japan and Australia when Adrian was there last year. And then some limited run games too. Main showcase itself. Now, that is a legit Assassin's Creed 3 snazzy Xbox 360 available for a very reasonable price. Now, as I mentioned too, he does have some imports. I know recently he got these guys here in the Street Fighter 2 Turbo along with Populous for the Super Famicom. He does carry some Switch games and the 8-bit Do controllers. Ooh! Well, hello. There's Cubivore. There's MK2 for the Saturn, Rule of Rose, Resident Evil 2 for the GameCube, a bunch of other handhelds as well. Now, the next two cabinets are the ones that I spend the most time in. These are the ones with the NES, Super NES, and N64 games. Look at this. You know, just a really nice big collection. And then, you know, not as much for me, but he does do a decent amount in DS and 3DS games. You know, a lot of box Super NES games here, as you can see. There's Daffy Duck, Speedy Gonzales, Tom and Jerry, Clay Fighter 2 in the box, Earthworm Jim 2, Star Trek The Next Generation, Donkey Kong Country 2, all in great shape, all in the box. You know, in addition to games like Double Dragon that you can't play on an actual Super NES, you have to use a clone system for. And then on the NES game side, ooh, you still have them. Mega Man 4, Mega Man 3. Did you sell the original Mega Man?
Nah, should be.
All right, we may pick up the original Mega Man here yet today. You know, the NES cleaning kit from back in the day, Dragon Power in the box, the Data East All-Stars, Double Dribble. Hey, maybe I can double my dribble on a boxed version of Double Dribble and 8-Bit Brody. And then behind the counter here too, we've got a pretty good selection of cables, controllers, replacement parts, you name it. You know, a couple monitors up top with music normally streaming, but I didn't want a copyright strike, so thankfully we were able to turn that down for now. And then retro consoles too. So we're gonna take a step back. It's like I own the place. So, you know, Retron 5, Super Retro Trio Plus, Retron 3, Retron 2, the original PlayStation, the Wii U and Xbox 360, Super NES, Saturns. Whoa! What is my price on the PS1?
I'll give it to you free. Because, you know, shameless plug and everything.
Free 99?
$3.99.
Free 99.
Freedom, like America.
Now, here's the other thing is Adrian loves when I mod systems, so you're gonna let me HDMI mod this top loader, right?
No. Why ruin something with your trash?
He has no taste whatsoever.
It is a real friend.
Xbox Ones, PlayStation 3s and 4s, and N64. Ooh, N64. Let's check the serial number. NS1. I can mod this one. We'll talk. Yeah, I think this one's coming home with me. Now, even though I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox, he does also have this really nice Xbox 360 kiosk set up. It's in really good, clean shape. You know what would make this even better? If it had a PS3 in it. Some other toys on a spinner here in the middle of the store that kids can trip over and fall, and when they break, their parents have to buy, because, you know, Adrian's kind of like that. So, dice for you D&D nerds. Nerd!
Look where you're at. Yes. Nerd.
Voltron Force, that's Hunk, and is that Lance? Was Lance Blue Lion? Someone in the comments, let me know who was Blue Lion back in the day. Some more dice as well. So we did make a couple of purchases today. The first one we made was this PS1, and one of the nice things, it'll be the perfect thing to use to test on the new HyperKin HDMI cable we will be reviewing soon. I also scored a copy of Blasto, and one of the cool things about this is the fact that it is voiced by none other than the late Phil Hartman. Our last purchase we made today is thanks to none other than Castlemania Ryan, because he's wanted to see someone play Rygar. And, well, I guess we'll be streaming Rygar sometime soon. Ryan, this one's, yeah, you owe me. So there you have it, our quick look at the new live-action games for 2019. Kristen and Adrian have done an amazing job getting the store turned around and set up as fast as they have. And there's just a lot more, even better stuff to come in the near future. Now, if you want to make sure that you are kept up to date with everything that we have here going on the channel, like I mentioned in the intro, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way, every time we do upload new content, you're kept the most up to date. Also, if you do have any comments or questions about live action games, about retro gaming in general, or anything retro related, feel free to email me at roxsolidmail@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter at RoXolid Studios. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/RoXolid Productions. And we are also on Instagram at instagram.com/RoXolid Productions GK. Now, if you want to go ahead and follow live action games, you can do so on Twitter at LAG217, or we'll have their Facebook page up on screen right now for you to follow too. Again, thanks to Adrian and Christian for all their help that they have been to us here with RoXolid Productions. Now, if you do want to go ahead and support the channel, you can do so in a couple of different ways. Go ahead, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/RoXolid. For as little as $1 a month, $12 a year, you get early access to all of our content, exclusives with me, and a whole lot more. You can also head on over to our Teespring store, where you can check out some of the cool merchandise that we have up there available for purchase that helps support the channel, and you can show your RoXolid Productions pride. Now, again, cool store. Unfortunately, I spend way too much money here, although Adrian probably thinks I don't spend enough.
Nobody spends enough.
Nobody spends enough. But if you are in the central Illinois area, I highly recommend you guys check out the new store. I am Gary, this has been RoXolid Productions. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon.